Hey, what's going on everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with another Pioneer deck tech, and today we're going to be talking about blue-white wizards. I am very excited to share this very spicy list with you. As always, at the end of the video, let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about the deck? Is there a specific wizard that I definitely should have put in this deck, or do you have suggestions for upcoming videos? Just let me know in the comment section. So, alright, it's been a minute since I've done a Creature Type Matters / Kindred deck. And, honestly, like I normally do a lot, I was on Gatherer looking for different, creature types that I could build around. So, I've done a wizard deck in the past. It was an Is It Wizard deck that was kind of like a Burn Prowess version. This list, though, is much different. So, the engine for this deck is Naban, Dean of Iteration. If a wizard entering the battlefield under your control causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So what we're doing is we're playing a whole bunch of wizards that have some really good ETBs, like Reflector Mage or Aether Channeler, just because, Reflector Mage is fantastic just because you can bounce something, but you can bounce two things if you have a Naban in play. Similar with Aether Channeler, which I'll be honest with you, I thought Aether Channeler was going to be an amazing card in Pioneer. It's virtually seen really no play, but with Naban, it is fantastic because obviously you can choose different modes. You can, bounce another non-land permanent, you can bounce two, you can draw a card and bounce something, you can do really anything, which is really cool. So, huge fan of the Aether Channeler and Reflector Mage in this deck. But these aren't the only bounce wizards we have. We're also playing Deputy of Detention, which I always forget that it is a wizard, but it is a wizard. Obviously, a little bit different with Deputy. The other ones just bounce it to their hand, but this is like a detention sphere, essentially. So, a little bit different, but still very similar and very good. And then rounding out our other creatures that we're playing in this deck, we're playing two, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, but I believe this is Twining Twins. So, Twining Twins is really good because obviously we have the Swift Spiral there, so we're able to exile a non-token creature and return it to the battlefield. So we can target our own Reflector Mage or Aether Channeler, which is sweet. It's really good synergy, but we can also do it to our opponent's creature just to kind of like fog it in a way for a turn. And then obviously, there's the 4/4 Flying Vigilance Ward 1. That's just a really good body that can help us close out the game. So we're playing two copies of those. And then Delny is not a wizard, but it's very good in this deck. It's sort of another copy of Naban, but the text is also really nice where creatures you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. So it does give our wizards at least unblockable by bigger creatures, which is nice, but just having another, Panharmonicon-esque effect on another creature is good. The other thing that is nice, it is a human. At least all the wizards on the front page there are all human, so there is a world where with Cavern of Souls we can name human instead of wizard. I would only really ever do that if you're playing against like blue-white control and you really need something specific to resolve, but it is something just to keep in mind with that. So, obviously we're a blue-white deck. What instant or sorceries are we playing? So, obviously we're blue-white, we're playing counterspells. The counterspells that we're playing in this deck, 4 Spell Pierce, 4 No More Lies, and 4 Wizard's Retort. So, Spell Pierce, it's really simple. The reason we're playing 4 Spell Pierce is we want to keep our smaller creatures, or our wizards, on the board. Spell Pierce is the cheapest interaction we can play that's also very effective. So that's why we're playing the Spell Pierces. No More Lies and Wizard's Retort, both fantastic. No More Lies obviously is just a blue-white mana leak, and Wizard's Retort is great in our deck because guess what? We're going to have a wizard in play. Spoiler alert, so it is counterspell when we have a wizard in play. So definitely huge fan of the counterspells here. And then rounding out our deck, we're playing 2 copies of each of these. 2 Elspeth Smite, 2 Fading Hope, and 2 Essence Flux. So Elspeth Smite and Fading Hope, both fantastic. I picked Fading Hope over into the Flood Moss so we can return our own creatures. Again, it's like a pseudo protection spell once again, but it's also good against our opponent's creatures. Elspeth Smite, playing this currently just because of the current metagame. There's a lot of really fast aggro decks going around right now, like the Rakdos aggro deck, and Elspeth Smite is very good against them because it does exile the creature. So very important. And Essence Flux. I can't believe this card's $3.50, but I guess it's because there's really not a good blink options, especially in blue. But Essence Flux, yeah, it's a really good card in this deck. Its sole purpose is to blink our own creatures. Obviously, if it's a spirit, put a 1 counter on it, doesn't matter. It's just blinking a creature. So we're just playing 2 copies of that. That's it. I mean, if you want to go up more, I definitely understand, but I decided to go even kind of with Fading Hope there. So that's our entire main board. Let's go and talk about our lands real quick, which we have a pretty standard, blue-white mana base. So 4 Seachrome Coast, 4 Hallowed Fountain, 4 Addercar Waste are our main dual lands. We're also playing 4 Hengate Pathway, 1 Otawara, and 1 Aganjo. And then rounding out our lands, we were playing 1 Cavern Souls, 1 Hall of Storm Giants, and 2 Islands. I'm only playing 1 Cavern Souls just because we have a lot of cards that require really specific mana costs. For instance, like Wizard's Retort, Cavern Souls can't help us cast that, as well as the No More Lies, because it doesn't make colored mana for No More Lies. So that's why I'm just playing the 1 Cavern Souls. And then, as our spicy basic land of the day, I had to feature the Dominaria Island. We have a lot of, cards from Dominaria or Dominaria based, so I wanted to use the Dominaria Island. It kind of all made sense. And when I think of Wizards, I really think of Dominaria. That is definitely the main plane, which makes sense because when we're on Dominaria, we usually get some really, really cool Wizards. So it all kind of makes sense here. So don't go anywhere yet, though. We still have to talk about our sideboard as well as some budget options for the deck. So sideboarding is really, really simple. Extra removal. I'm playing some Get Losts, and I'm also playing some Portable Holes in my sideboard to help deal with some of the other aggro decks. I'm also playing Split Up. So I wanted a mass board wipe that really wouldn't hurt us that much. I was going to play Settle the Wreckage, but I chose Split Up. For those who don't remember what Split Up is, it's white, and 1 for a sorcery. You choose one. You either exile or you destroy all tapped creatures or destroy all untapped creatures. I like it because it's 3 mana. It's good against the aggro decks because they're creatures, they're going to be turning them sideways, and then boom, before we attack, we can wreck their board and then get in there. I think it's really, really good in this deck. We're also playing Rest in Peace. We need some graveyard hate. We're in white. We're playing Rest in Peace. Enough said. There's really no explanation other than that. And then Containment Priest. So I decided to play Containment Priest. I was going to play Grafdigger's Cage, but it's good against a number of different decks, especially like Collected Company decks. Selesnya Company is a very popular deck at the moment, so I like the Containment Priest for that. Once again, it's also a human, so there is a world, again, with Cavern of Souls, if we really need to in a pinch, we can name human and help play the Containment Priest and make it uncounterable, but overall, I think it's just a really, really good card in our sideboard. And then the last thing we have to talk about is the budget options for this deck, which is really simple. Trim the Delny and Essence Flux. Essence Flux, $3.50 for an uncommon is a little tricky, especially with, all it takes is 1 reprint and the card's like a quarter. So I don't blame you if you don't get Essence Flux for this deck. But Delnies, they're pretty pricey just because of like Commander. They're almost $20 a piece. I would personally just go ahead and put 2 more Twining Twins in, and then I would just call it a day. You also can play some budget dual lands, and I also didn't include this, but you can also trim some of the utility lands, like the Otawara, the Aganjo, the Cavern of Souls, the Hallowed Fountain, and you can just play some more budget dual lands. And the last thing we got to talk about, the current list as it's constructed right now, is only $209 US, which I know sounds like a lot, but for a blue-white Pioneer deck, that is incredibly cheap. But I was able to get this deck down to $36. And all I did, I trimmed the Delny, I trimmed the Get Lost out of the sideboard, and played some budget dual lands, and then I did cut the Essence Flux. That's it. I cut some of the dual lands, not even all of them. We still have the Seachrome Coast, we still have the Addercar Waste. I played budget dual lands, a couple more basics, trimmed a few cards, and we got it down to $36 US, which is incredibly cheap for a blue-white Pioneer deck. I just wanted to point that out, like that is absolutely crazy that we were able to get it to being this cheap. So if you really like Wizards, or if you like even like blue-white, aggro tempo decks, like if you like Spirits, but you want to change things up a little bit, I think that this is a deck that you probably would really, really like. I know as an aggro player, if I was playing against a deck like this, man, with Naban and then just like Reflector Mages bouncing 2 of my creatures would be absolutely infuriating to play against. So that's how I know that this deck is probably pretty solid. And let me know in the comment section below if you do end up building this deck, or if you have something very, very similar to it. So that takes us to the end of the video here. Thanks so much for watching. The deck lists are in the description below if you'd like to check them out for yourself. Huge shout out to our channel members, Ralph, Matt, Arcadius, Ray, Gary, Saranoki, and Night Red 3. If you're interested in being a channel member, it's only $1 US a month. You get access to the exclusive Commander Crane Discord, as well as other features here on the channel. So, I'm Commander Crane. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope to catch you in the next one.